What's going on, everybody? It is Monday.
Time for another
Monday
motivation chat. Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all feeling? It's February, month of love, Black History Month. So many things going on, so many things changing. Just a month and some change into the new year. How you guys making out with your goals? Like, did you set any goals? Are you crushing any goals? Like, let us know. Hey, thanks. Who? Who are you talking about? Who's there? Okay. Last week. Yep. We had the opportunity and the honor to chat with Jasmine Clemente, and it was such an inspiring conversation, learning about her journey, learning about where she went from being a music artist to now being a spiritual teacher. What was your biggest takeaway from last week?
My biggest takeaway was basically just being true to yourself, discovering yourself. That process isn't always easy, and it looks different for everybody. Mm-hmm. I actually had the opportunity to take part in her yoga classes that she hosts on Thursdays, and I thought that was amazing.
Yeah,
it was really good.
So her style of yoga is yin yoga. Yin.
I'm bad with
the
names of those.
I'm like 95% sure it's yin yoga.
Slower pace, holding the positions. It felt amazing. I felt really good afterwards. And we got this lovely today. Her book, yes. Living in the Light, a guide to discovering and manifesting your life purpose.
Yes.
Can't wait to read this bad boy. So it was definitely great having her on the show.
Yes. And this week, we are so excited.
Got Elo
in the house.
About to bring him in.
Yes. Can't wait for you guys to learn about him and his story and his journey. Type in the chat if you have set goals for this week.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
For sure. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
And so you're on the West Coast, right?
No, on the East Coast, in New York.
Oh, okay. So many people were talking to. There was someone we were chatting with that was in Cali. Forgive me.
It's okay.
So introduce yourself to everyone who is watching, who will watch later. Who are you?
Well, my name is Charlie Evo. I'm a native New Yorker, a Bronxite, born and raised. I'm an artist by, passion and by trade, a visual artist. I'm a painter. Pretty much all things visual. I do film, murals. I'm a poet. I get a chance to stand up with a great troupe of poets at Capicool Culture. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they've been running. They ran an open mic here for over 10 years. Lots of great poets have passed through there. So every once in a while, I get up and I get to share a few lyrics and get some things off my chest that way as well. So basically a multifaceted creative person, a little bit of everything.
Love it. So I guess let's start off with when did you discover your passion for poetry and art? When did you find it?
Well, as far as art, I mean, I've been doing like visual art pretty much all my life, like since I was a kid. I went to LaGuardia High School, which is a very big accredited art high school here in New York City. I don't remember the show Fame back in the day. I don't know if you remember. Well, it was based on that school. So I went there, got some training, but I was a young knucklehead still. I wasn't really ready to take my path yet. So I don't know, something like 17 years later, after being married, after having kids, after being in the army, was that I started painting again.
Oh.
It was actually a really painting is what I called it, like painting, because it came after the death of my dad, and that was basically like my art therapy, and you know, I like to say that I ran away from painting and from doing art, because you know how they instill this idea that you have to pursue something that makes you money. Oh, you have to go to school for something that makes you money, and you know, somehow the creative works always get thrown on the bottom end of those things. So
Yeah.
I was always kind of like, I was like, well, what am I gonna do with art? I'm gonna draw like these guys on Times Square, you know, like drawing tourists. Like what am I gonna do with art? You know, so that mindset, which I think they call it imposter syndrome as well.
Yeah.
You know, didn't and even in high school really didn't let me progress as far as in retrospect I knew that I could have, right? Um, but anyway, but yeah, so 17 years later, when I was in the army, I just started painting again, just trying to get things off my chest. And lo and behold, through the power of the internet, I connected with some of my high school friends who were doing live art here at in New York, and we connected, and they said, as soon as you come here, you can come and paint with us. And you know, the rest is history. After that, I just took off, and I never looked back. So I've been doing art full time as a full time artist, and like, you know, getting paid for it for about 7 years now.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. So in the midst of that, you know, creatives clash, and then I found the house of poetry that I call Kapiku, and that was around around the same time, about 2014, 2015, and I started writing. I mean, I've always written, because I'm a creative person, so it's like, you know, it's just in the vein.
Yeah.
But I started rather performing or reciting and sharing my work, not just, you know, writing in a notebook for myself. And then that kind of took a life of its own, and I felt more comfortable behind the microphone, which I'm never really comfortable behind or public speaking and things like that. And it's funny because I am known as a talkative person, but you know, it's just not my platform. You know, in private, I talk your head off. Right? But this works for me too, because I feel like it's just us three here.
Love it.
So how did
yeah, so within the last 7 years, I've done a bunch of live art events. I've actually, you know, my best friends have come from those live art scenes, and you know, us just running from events to events, and just because it's a small community, just people overlap, and I met the people who will become part of my collective, which is Art Culture NYC, and we're all Latinos based out of New York. Well, we were, because they've kind of moved away now, but you know, we all still a crew, and I've been able to do murals around the city, in Dominican Republic, in Puerto Rico, Florida. You know, and just growing and collaborating. I just recently had my artwork in the back of Flaco Poquito Bottle, because I know she was on here before, so it's over there. That was on the news. So, you know, just doing it.
Doing it. Love it.
So art is one of those things, like you said, it's very creative, and art looks different for everybody.
Mhm.
So how did you become? I'm trying to think of a way to word the question. So prior to the live, were you doing art in front of people, or were you just kind of doing it for yourself?
In my kitchen.
So then what was that transition like, right? Because sometimes, like you said, you used to call it painting, right? Because you were doing it out of pain. And it was a coping mechanism. So to be able to do that in front of people, what was that like?
Uh, I, I think I never stopped really to think about the people looking. Really, I was more concerned with like for myself. Like I wouldn't. I used to come in with this attitude, like, yeah, I'm just gonna go in there, kill it, just kill it. I'm just gonna and leave, right?
Mhm.
Leave
And
Drop the paper at the wall.
yeah, and no hanging, no. I don't want to talk to anybody. I just listen. Don't. Right. I was so focused, and when I started painting, I was in the kitchen, overnight, so like for hours and hours and hours, and I realized that I had the ability to paint a whole painting to my satisfaction, at least then, right? In one night. Like I'd sit there 5 hours, and by the end of 5 hours, it was like late into the night. I had to get up for work or whatever. But I'd be happy. I get up in the morning, like just run to the kitchen and just stare at it for like 10 minutes before I go to work. And then that just became like a nightly routine or every other night routine. So I was like, I can do that. I was like, I do that in my kitchen. I could just. The difference is that I'll be standing up, whatever. I'll just have a drink, and I was on, and it was just like that. And for like the first, I don't know, 3 months that I went to this particular event, which was called Collage, which is where it sort of all kind of sprung out from. And they're I think they were doing it for 10 years, and just because of they're still going on, just stopped because of COVID. Uh, I didn't speak to anybody. I didn't have any friends. I would wave to people, and I just because I was so focused on the painting, and I was like, I have to leave with it finished every night. So I guess it's a long answer to say I didn't really pay attention to them. I was just so focused, so like happy and excited about being around other creative individuals. Because those kind of events is like there's people painting all around you, and this particular event had a weekly theme, so it's almost like a real collective vibe. So you sort of feel like you're all in there, like in the same energy, and you bounce off each other, and I take a break and I look around the room and I'm like, man, wow, cool, and then I go back to mine, and I really just didn't focus on anything but the actual work. Later on, though, I started socializing and I started kind of pulling myself away from the canvas, which was beneficial too, because you look at it with fresh eyes, and as I started kind of developing some style and some finesse and just some different approaches and just things that I was inspired with, and just trying out new things, experimenting, things started changing. So as soon as I stepped away from my camera, as soon as I dropped that sort of mentality, I gotta finish it and I had to prove something, right? Everything got better, and then I took advantage of the fact that there was people around me, because then it was like I was absorbing all this energy, and I started feeling comfortable enough that I didn't really have to be zoned in. I could just be painting, and people would come and talk. I would still just be at the canvas. People talk to me, and there'd be people talking, and I got used to people talking to me while I'm like doing something else, So live art like that.
Mm-hmm. in that space, did imposter syndrome ever peek itself out?
I think that every once in a while, in different aspects though, like
Mm-hmm.
during that year, because I started, so I came out the army and then I came straight to New York, and like right that same year, 2013, like I just started, I just started rolling, um, because I had not exhibited any kind of art making skills for so long to anyone, right? And then the internet was like, all visuals, all these visuals, right? I started getting all this attention, and so I kind of felt good about myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was confident that I was somewhere that I belonged because I felt good, like the
Yeah.
pressure lifted. I was like, blue skies and sun rays, and I was like really in a really 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 happy place. I just came from like the army, okay, so now I'm like all rainbows and sunshine, like hey, oh sorry, too much rainbows and sunshine. Oh, um, and so to answer your question, the imposter syndrome was me stuck at the canvas. Oh, I have to do this. What would I have anything to prove? It's my art. If I did a little squiggle and I say that's my art, that's my art. But who would I have anything to prove? No. I mean, who did I have? Nobody. No one but myself. No one but myself. So as soon as I started feeling comfortable with, I suppose, being there, like I said, like then I was able to absorb the energy for what it was. Like I was being a hermit at my, oh, but I want to
Yeah.
finish. But
Yeah.
I want to good job. Oh, but I want to impress people, right? This is a performance after all. I am at an event,
Right.
But as soon as I started dropping some of that, all that, and just feeling like loose and just being comfortable in my own skin, uh, things got better, a lot better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How about your first open mic, like your first time performing your poetry? Like,
Oh,
give us a little story behind that. Take us there.
okay. All right. Well, it was in Brooklyn. Actually, one of my friends from Collage, he's a photographer and an artist and a poet. So, and a veteran. So we have a lot in common. And his name is Albert Arezaga. He's like a really, really great artist. So he is like the resident photographer for that event, Copy Cool Culture. So um, he had his own open mic that he was starting in Brooklyn. Uh, and it was an open mic, and then with an art show. So I went to paint, and I decided that was the day that I was going to spit my poem. And in my studies, I had studied recording engineering and production. And so before I went to the army, actually, when I wasn't doing art, when I stopped doing art, and I said that I ran away, I just started another creative endeavor, which is music. Um, so I decided to recite the lyrics to a song that I had written, and because I wanted to feel comfortable. And I don't know, there's this picture of like that somebody took of me when I was walking off the mic, and I'm like with the cheesiest smile, like people are clapping for me, you know. Um, it took a long time, and I would just read my poems, like just read like all this deep stuff and like all these like big words that I couldn't even like pronounce and cadence because I wasn't used to being that kind of a poet, right? I was just the kind of like writing. So it took a while before I felt comfortable with my own skin, just kind of like being a performance artist, I guess you would say, right? Like it's more like
Yeah.
like a performance poem versus like a poem that you kind of read in your head. It's like a different cadence and yeah. So it took a while, but I was always like by this time in my creative career, like I'm already like used to like creative spaces and connecting with different people and sort of just absorbing energy. So, you know, I went from that to I remember it was in the International Day of the Woman, right? And then we were there at the open mic at Capicu, and I was like, man, I came in late, and then I looked at the host. He had the clipboard now, and I was like, Pablo, and he was like, and I was like, right? I didn't have a poem, and I sat there through the whole entire open mic. I had my poem at the bar, and I closed out the place. And now, let me tell you, that was the first time that I really felt, I was like, man, I did good. I was like, that came out good, man. Because it was natural. And I guess it was like so fresh in my head because I was like practicing over and over and over and over again. And I was just like deep, like at the canvas, right? Deep in thought and just like, you know, sinking into the paper. And I was just ready, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. So I had a couple experiences like that. Like, you know, I wish that I had the opportunity to do more earlier, but you know, we're trying to make up for it now.
Yeah.
It's definitely dope because, like you said, it is a performance. You know, like there's a lot of art that can go on behind closed doors. So to be able to not only dive back into your art, but to dive back into your art as a performer, that's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a
especially
sense of
I have stage fright. So
I think that's always going to be like a thing, right? Like because of the fact that you're really passionate about it, like those butterflies and that fear, like that's not going to go anywhere. And I feel like if it does go somewhere, like it's just like you don't really have it anymore. Then it's like, are you really like you kind of get to the point where you're just like, whatever.
right, there's something wrong there.
Yeah, exactly.
I hear you. It's true. It's true. But you know, I feel blessed though that I get to do, you know, creative things, be in the creative environment, being around people that are, you know, that are just doing all kinds of creative things, different avenues, different lanes, and just kind of like collaborate and build and help each other grow. You know, it's nice to be part of a community.
Yeah. Do you think that's the essential part of your journey and your success is the community that you're part of?
I think that for that time, for my initial, you know, breaking in to actually, you know what? Let me rescind that. Let me take that back. I'll say that yes. I'll say yes. Just more than it was more prevalent at the beginning. You know, kind of like you know, like everybody else. You don't know anything. You don't know anybody, so you find people that do know, or people that are in those places, and see how you can, you know, do and be in those places as well. But yes, you know, the sense of community is very strong. That's why we formed the collective, Art Culture NYC, and just collaborating there with different people. Like I said, I was in the back of Cynthia's bottle. She's a big supporter of the arts. She's part of the community. She's not an artist or a poet. You know, she has her thing going with the liquor, but you know, it's cool. We support it. She supports us. You know, and then they're right there. That's another collaborative effort, and which is really cool for me because now my art is in countless people's homes. Every time they're drinking Ecofito, you know, they come across my art, you know. So and that just comes from a sense of community. And like those collaborations, man, and those are the things that have really propelled me forward. That's why I resist. Like when I thought about it really quick, I was like, no, I take back my answer. Yes, community is definitely always at the core. It's just like I said, it was more prevalent before. You know, after a while, people grow. Everybody's kind of growing in their own way, and that's what we want, right?
Right. everybody help like uplift one another, despite the fact that the paths are not like exactly the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially with the energy, like feeding off the energy, like you said, that's very important.
Which is, I think, our ultimate mission with Kill the Day is that is the mission, to bring together a community of people that uplift one another. Like, we don't have to be from the same, culture or doing the same things, but it's very much capable that we all can support one another, elevate one another, inspire one another. And so that really is like the idea behind. NYC Art Collective, right? That's the name of it?
Art Culture NYC.
Oh, Art Culture NYC. Tell us a little bit more about it. Like what do you guys do? How are you involved in the community? How do people join the collective as well?
Okay. Well, like I said before, it's sort of at we're semi disbanded because just by distance. We were, when we started 5 years ago, we were all together here in New York City, and we were running around and doing events and fundraisers and live art and just trying to bring art to to the community. We're all Latinos from different parts of Latin America, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, Peru, Honduras,
Wow.
Argentina, and so over time people moved away, and so our interactions are now, well, very appropriately, over the internet, and so we share our work remotely now. One of our founding members, she passed away actually last year, so we're still kind of like adjusting to that because along with myself, she was the administrator of the group, but definitely strong ties to Latin America, and like what I like to call the like the struggle, right? Definitely close ties to Latin American art and history and culture. And so this is like the kind of art that you would find on the website, on our Instagram. But if you were to go into the Instagram, it's about 9 of us. There would be, you can find some more, extensive themes. We have photographer, painters, digital artists, body artists, and so it came from us, like I said, bouncing around from event to event, and we were like, you know what, we should get together and do something collectively. So always the goal was for us for what happened to happen, for us all to kind of like grow, right, and then collectively, just be a larger entity, and I think that that's what's happened. Just that now I'm in New York by myself, and everybody else is somewhere else.
Oh, so you're the last remaining member in New York?
Was that? I'm the last remaining member in New York. Yeah. Like somebody went to Oklahoma. Somebody went to two went to Puerto Rico. Like I said, one person passed away. Some people defected, and so I'm holding it down by myself right now in New York. But I'll probably leave here too. We're gonna have to just call it Art Culture Worldwide or something.
Yes.
Has there been any talks about, because of the fact that members have split off like that, of expanding it to those areas?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Like we have Art Culture Puerto Rico.
Okay.
Yeah. So because just naturally, if 2 of the members went over there, and it's like we're just gonna keep it going. But like as far as branching out, that's as far as we are. But it's cool because there's a lot of work that we've done out there. One of my best friends, Ralph Serrano, he has he'd be a good person for you to talk to. He's very inspirational. He has a bunch of murals all over the island. especially a lot in the town of Arecibo, over on the West Coast.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think he's on the schedule. I think we are gonna chat with him. I don't know when, but I think we are gonna chat with Ralph.
Yeah. Ralph Serrano. Yeah, he's a good one. Yeah, so I lived in Philly, and I lived in Philly for a whole year in Fishtown.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long were you in Philly?
For a year. I was out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are you New York native, like born and raised?
Born and raised.
Okay.
Born and raised.
Okay.
Right in the Bronx.
Love it.
So, yeah. So what happened was that I had to move back because my son was sick. So I had, it was like a lot of back and forth.
Yeah.
So I ended up just coming back here to be near him until he got better.
Nice.
I think that it's amazing that you guys took the art route. And something really resonated with me that you said in regards to talking about careers and money, right? And the arts is always something that is just like, that's a hobby, right? Like people don't really look at it as something, or people will try to look at it as something that they want to do with their life. And then, other people's like, oh, well, how much money are you really going to make from that? You got to support a family. You got to have dreams. You have to have this. You have to have that. So I think that it's amazing to not only create a community and a group that help motivate Latin art, right? So it's not just any art. It's you have it's going to be a big impact with the Latin community, and I think that there's something very beautiful in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we feel like we are underserved and we get a lot less attention than we deserve. We're out here too,
Yeah.
with everybody else.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I was listening to you, and I was listening to you, so I forgot my thought. I was going to ask you something. Yeah. So, motivation.
Cynthia says, "How did you practice art during that time?"
Even as a hero, may God bless him. Did you practice art during that time? Okay, well, she's talking about when my son Fabian was sick. He had cancer.
Mm-hmm.
So I did. It's funny because I came from painting, right? Like out of pain and therapy, and that was my dad passed away. But when my son was sick, I was in disarray. Like I couldn't get it out. Like I could paint. I remember what I was gonna say before, actually, too. I'm gonna get right, but let me just answer that question. I could paint if I had to. Actually, it's full circle. Do a commission, meaning if I had to sit here and paint something for you, you paying me, and then yes, I can sit there. And so, like getting back to what you were saying about getting paid and about doing it as a profession, and imposter syndrome. I remember when I was in school for film, I had a professor who was the director of the program, actually, and he said to me these words, and it just kind of resonated with me. And it just kind of, he said, if you get paid for it, you're a professional. So I was like, well, gee, and then you couple that with people are going to pay you the worth that you assign to yourself. Okay. Right. So I can say this painting, right? You ask me, oh, Charlie, how much is this painting? And I can, in my head, real calculate, like monetarily, real quick, that it costs me monetarily, this much, right? But hold on. How long did it take me to paint that, though? Hold on. How many paintings did it take me to acquire the skill to be able to paint that, though? How much training did I have to acquire to be able to paint that, though? Like all those things, like you have to take into consideration, right? And you assign yourself the value that you think that you deserve, right? Because very rare am I gonna say, you know what, hey, take it for $20, and you're gonna say, no, here, let me give you 100. You're gonna take it for $20 because that's the value that I assign. You might say, you sure? But I'm sure you'll take it. You know, and so I think that artists lack that. Artists always, not always. Let me not be the absolute, but you know, it's a very commonality amongst artists that they lowball themselves. Why? Because this mindset that the creative arts somehow are like on the bottom end of, like, you know, professions, right? There's a lot of people that will pay a lot of money to have a mural painted, right? But then there's a lot of people that can't really afford to buy this painting for what I'm selling it for. Why? Because now I assign myself this value and people are like, that's too, you know, expensive for me. All right. Well, let's get creative now. Okay? So you can't pay me $600 for this painting. I get it. That's a lot of money. That's real money. I'm telling you because you know what? If I had to take me a week to paint it, I'm going to charge you with a week's worth of work, man.
Right.
Right? Okay? So where a lot of artists go wrong is like they're not going to pay. So either you're going to give it away for $75, not the $600 that it really costs you in time, labor, and freaking supplies, right? You're going to give it away for $75, $100, or something like that, right? Or you're not going to sell it at all. It's too precious, right? And that is such a mindset that's just going to keep you right there, right? No, man, let's diversify these streams of income. Okay, you can't pay. Can you pay $20? You can pay $20, man. Let's make some prints. Let's sell some prints now. Like right? Like if I can't sell this one for $600, but maybe I could sell 20 prints for $20. Man, 20 times 20, that's $400. Right? Put it on some t-shirts. You got all this third-party fulfillment stuff now that you don't even have to do anything. Upload your artwork, people order it. You don't even have to do anything but get paid. You know? And I would dare echo my teacher and say that if I got paid for selling one t-shirt with my artwork, that makes me a professional. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, true story.
So that's my little spiel.
Let's get into that value thing, because I think it's not just artists. I think people in general undervalue themselves, even if they're they're an employee and they feel like they deserve, or they want a raise, but they don't know how to ask for it. Like, I think in general, people undervalue themselves. How did you go from, what is the process to you to arrive to say, this is my value, this is what I deserve, and I'm going to ask for it?
Okay. So I belong, like I said, to this community of artists, right? A lot of artists are emerging artists. And the ones that are not emerging artists are really popular, let's say, locally, right? Very few of them are like super international known, even though some of them are, right? So a lot of them is emerging artists. For me, is the community and like the energy and, you know, stuff like that, right? I just got my degree a couple years ago. Well, I finished it up, right? I got a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Painting. I took a course over the summer, the best course I've ever taken in college, man. It changed my entire life as an artist, because all it was field trips. And my professor, her name is, she's an artist too. Her name is Daniel Tegeter. And she took us to museums, talk to people behind the scenes in the museum. We were talking to the artists that were exhibiting at the museum. Like, we would go to the museum, look around with all this art, and then the artist that's exhibit is up in this like museum downtown New York, you know, is here talking to us, walking us through. We went to collectors, homes and had the collectors talk to us. Upscale collectors, lower scale collectors, you know, and all this exposure. And I was like, and I remember being in Queens. I'm from the Bronx, and being in Queens, and we walked past these murals of street art, right? And I was like, oh, I know it. I know that guy. Oh, I know. And nobody else knew who those guys were. I did though. And I was like, because I belong to that community, right? And I saw that this was like a whole nother level, okay, of art exhibit. Like, you know, you say, oh, I want my stuff in galleries, but this is like the real deal, talking to the real deal Holyfield, the collectors that are paying thousands and thousands of dollars for artwork. And and I'm looking at the artwork. We went to artist studios. I'm looking at these artists. The artwork dope, really cool, really impressive, really inspirational, right? But not better than my artwork. Just different. So if not better and different, and they're getting paid, well, I can't get paid. And what's the difference? The difference is that they're confident. They say, you know what, this is my artwork, and this is what it costs. And if you can't afford it, then maybe we can work something out. Not maybe this is not for you. There's more artwork. But this is what this costs, because this is what it costs me. And I'm not in the business of, like, you know, working for free. And that's another thing too. Another thing was that I was doing these events, fine. Like I came up, I met people, like all these really, 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 really gifted photographers. God bless their hearts. They used to come to these events and take pictures of us. And, you know, we got a little bit of exposure behind all of that, right? People would call, you know, so then you're like doing stuff for free, right? But it's okay, because it's not really for free, because they're promoting you, right? And until that line, because that's the line, right? Oh, I can help you with promotion. I didn't know that line until I heard it too many times, right? And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. So I'm painting. I got to go down there. I got to bring my own supplies. I got to set up. I got to buy my own drinks. I got to entertain your crowd. But I'm not getting anything, nothing. Or I'm getting what, like $50? Dude, that doesn't even cover half of my expenses to come down here. Like, so you just want me to do it for free. For free. Like, for free? Can't do that, man. Matter of fact, you know, I hate to sound like I'm too grown for my britches or whatever, but I don't need the promotion. Google me. Check it out. I don't need the promotion. You know what I'm saying? And I don't mean to sound like, you know, cocky or whatever, but I need money, man. I'm a professional. You know what I'm saying? And so as soon as I started taking that serious, like, you know, this, like, on like, that was like a goal, right? Like, man, I'm going to the galleries, right? I'm going to, you know, immerse myself in that space. I'm going to take my things to the next level, you know, and still rock out on this level, but be on that level too. And because that's the goal. The goal is really to be successful as an artist. I will always do art as a passion, as a therapy, right? But something that I take time out of my day for my kids, okay, from my responsibilities, from my duties. There has to be a reward for that. There has to be some get back for that, you know? And I think that, like you say, as a human being, not as an artist, but as a human being, anything that I spend my time doing, I should be getting a return on, okay? Or else what am I doing? Just wasting my time, right? So, you know, to answer your question, I don't know. I was kind of long-winded.
Yeah, I think that's great. Because I feel like that also kind of goes hand in hand with imposter syndrome. Because what I feel like what a lot of people need to understand is there's billions of people in this world, right? And there's going to be somebody that's going to want to do what it is that you do. And there's going to be a lot of people that are going to want to do that. And I think that you definitely hit the nail on the head in regards to comparing your art to others. And it's not necessarily that like, oh, this art is better than mine. It's different. There's a different variety. They're all coming from a different perspective, from different eyes, and from a different background. And people do shortchange themselves. And I feel like because of the imposter syndrome and also fear, because in order, like, I'm sure you could speak from experience, when you came to the point of realizing your value, you probably pissed a lot of people off because there was people that just kind of were looking for handouts or looking for whatever. And when you stood your ground, people were just like, yeah, all right, whatever. And just kind of like shoo you off, you know, but like, look at where you're at now. You know, you stood your ground, you stood true to yourself, and there's something very powerful in that. And with that, we're like at perfect timing. Why don't you kind of go with that and just provide some sort of words of wisdom for those that may be at that crossroads in their life right now?
Okay. Well, I mean, you know what? I think that the best thing that I can tell anybody really is to value yourself. So, like, just like what I said about the work, I mean, the work is an extension of me. So if I value myself, then anything that I do, anything that I put my hands on, that means that it's going to be something of value. You know, I can't put my stuff behind no BS. I can't sign my name behind that, right? You know why? Because it's not valued, you know, and my time is valuable. I have children. Even if my time is not valuable for me, my time is valuable for them. So no matter what, my time is valuable. And you know what? Nobody is going to tell you. I mean, people can tell you, but nobody can make you believe that you're valuable. You know, nobody, only you, and nobody can feel your pain but you. You can be you and you can empathize with me and say, man, oh, but you will never be able to, and I will never be able to feel yours, right? So that means you got to take care of number one, right? That's yourself. You know, this journey, you meet people, right? And some people put you down, some people lift you up, some people run with you, you know, some people push you along, right? But in every one of those instances, you're by yourself. Those people are just around you. You understand? Those people can motivate you, inspire you, demotivate you, put you down, hurt your feelings, piss you off, whatever. But they're never inside of your head. They're never inside of your body. They're never in your feelings. Okay, these people are just around you. Okay, only you can assign your self-worth, your self-value. Only you. And I think that once you start doing that, once you like value your time, you know, value your things. Take care of your things, like your things, like your clothes, like your sneakers, like value your things. Put time into, because that denotes a lot in your life. Like, why don't you value your things? Why don't you take care of, you know, even the simplest things? You know how they say like the smallest link is, what is it? We're only strong as our weakest link, right?
Yep.
And I think that's also like you know, as like the smallest detail of things that we miss. We're only as focused as that. So I think that if there's anything that I can, you know, ask people to take away is that, you know, value yourself, respect yourself, give yourself worth. You know, if you're religious, you know that you are a child of God. If you're not religious, know that you're unique in this world. You know, I like to always say that that God is the ocean, right? And that we're all cups of water, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, I'm a cup of water of God, and you're a cup of water, you're a cup of water, but you're a cup of water, you're a cup of water. You know how people say, man, he's not my cup of water, you know, or my cup of tea, they say, right? He's not my cup of tea, but he's just hot water, right? You know, because why? Because everybody's different, right? And you know, like mean people, it's, you know, how much energy it takes for somebody to be mean to you. It's so much nicer. I mean, easier to be nice, you know. And I think I said something the other day where I was like, because I go on Facebook and I throw these like little one-liners and I'm hashtag elevated, like, you know, so I sound like deep. But you can Google that. Hashtag elevate.
No, but I like that. Hashtag elevate. That's dope. I like that. You need to put up the t-shirt.
It has it on the t-shirt.
Wait,
It's on
let me
the
see it.
t-shirt.
No, I
No, it's
can't
not
see
on
it.
here.
Oh,
What does that say?
It says
On your
elevate.
it says elevate.
Like Charlie Evo.
Oh, yeah. Well, I need
She
to get
can't
one
see.
of those.
She needs
I
glasses.
don't know
She
what that
can't
is about. I
see.
need one of those.
Hey, well, elevatedapparel.com.
I love it.
Yeah, so I have apparel on there too. I mean, if you guys want to take a look at some, I put some artwork, like I said, on some apparel. But just to finish what I was saying, you know, self-worth, self-value. You know, no one's going to value you or understand you or really give you the care that you can give you. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And what I was saying was about mean people. And you know, they say hurt people, right?
Yeah.
And I think that when people are hurt, they tend to devalue themselves, right? You know, they say that being angry is like you drinking the poison and expecting somebody else to die, you know,
Yeah.
or you sitting there with the hot potato and expecting somebody else to burn, you know. So like you're sitting here hurting yourself, right? And that's a form of devaluing yourself, you know. So I feel that people should also let things go, you know, let things go, because it's very liberating. You know what I'm saying? If you find yourself being mean to somebody, you know, you really have to stop. And like today I was grouchy at work, man. I was like grumpy. And somebody was like, "Are you okay, man? Like, dude, like you're kind of grumpy." And I was like, "Man, I didn't sleep well. And maybe I'm a little grumpy." You know what I'm saying? And I apologized to the person. I was like, "Was I cranky with you?" He was like, "Nah, no." But I felt that I was like, I was grumpy, man. You know, and that's not right, because why should he have to pay for me devaluing myself, staying up late and not getting my rest, and knowing that I got to work the next day, right? Like you know, I hurt myself. Now he had to pay for it. But that self-worth, you know, that means taking care of yourself, right? Self-value means taking care of yourself, taking care of your temple, taking care of your mind. You know, we have the 4 healths, right? We have the mental health, we have the physical health, we have the emotional health, and we have the sexual health, right? And we're like a car running on 4 wheels. And if one of those wheels, you know, falls off, or something wrong with those wheels, right? The car keeps going, but it's just dragging the car, right? Dragging the car, and as it keeps going, the rest of the car starts breaking down, right? So we got to take care of our health. Health is wealth, and you know, value yourself.
I love that analogy. I love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this was so inspirational. I love.
I'm glad.
Yes. Do you do any of your poetry like on social media now that you know COVID? Are you performing?
No. There's something that there's one poem that's on my Instagram that I put up I think a month ago or something, that actually my friend Deso, who's commenting here, he used it. He does a festival in the Lower East Side in Manhattan for over 10 years, and he has people from all over like the world come. It's called the New Village Music Festival, and I was blessed to be able to paint live there at the last few events. But this year, because of COVID, he did it remotely, and I had done a poem for another event, and he liked it so much that he put it on his show, and that was very gratifying. You know, that he liked it enough to, like, I mean, I hate to say like recycle, but like reuse it, like, you know, reuse it again, and so it was good to see. You know, so I don't know. I drop 1 or 2 every once in a while. I can't, you know, I like to do a lot of creative stuff, but I can't do them all like in the same period. Like you know, like if I write, it's like a time for writing. I'll be like weeks, right? Or if I'm painting, you know, there's a time for painting. Even if Even if I'm not painting during the time for painting, there's no writing because there's a time for painting. Like the focus is really like I had this commission that I had to do, and it took me so long, right? But I'd come and I like to stare at it for like a week, right? Just stare at it, and my friend was like, yeah, but like, you just stare at the painting, like, aren't you ever gonna work on it? But then the day that I got up to work on it, I was like I had already internalized it so much, right? That was all part of the painting. But yeah, I don't know. I digress. There's some poetry out there. if you go on Instagram,
somebody's asking for you to throw us with some lyric now. Like,
yeah, the audience is asking.
Yeah,
you got something to spit right now?
Oh wow.
Hey, see, there goes the second one.
Another one.
All right. I'm tired of the struggle. I'm tired of the hustle. I'm tired of being kept in the dark, having to figure out the puzzle. It's like everybody got their head in the sand, stuck in the trance, or got their mouth shut with the muzzle, but not me. I'm looking out for the enemy with 2 shooters to the back of my dome like Kennedy and steadily bombing my head with fear. Steadily bombing my head with fear, watching my every move, even though it ain't clear where we going. Maybe we're already there. Maybe we're just beginning. Maybe we're just repenting from a shameless life for sinning. Maybe it's just not me. Maybe it's just this different person that I was always meant to be. Something like that.
Yeah. Thank you. That was so dope.
Thank you guys. This has been wonderful. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Us. Yes, thank you so much. We're so honored. And for everyone, please share. And as always, remember to catch us every Monday for Monday Motivation Chat. And remember, kill the day every day. With love. Thank you.